Jeremy Clarkson is fed up to the limit that the Labour Party does not care about citizens at all and introduces an inheritance tax that threatens the existence of British farms. His anger is off the scale and he cannot stand aside, questioning the entire political system. This is not just a political issue, it is a struggle for the survival of British farming and the betrayal of an entire industry that feeds the nation. Even more worryingly, the National Farmers Union, instead of supporting its members, retreated, leaving farmers completely alone and defenseless. Jeremy is furious, and his emotions know no bounds. But the question arises, why is this tax so destructive? And why does Clarkson take it so strongly? Today, we will figure it out. We're starting to watch.
So the fact of the matter is this: farming 7 days a week for a year on a 1,000-acre farm has generated an income of £144.
Correct. Fortunately, at the moment, we have this subsidy. When that goes...
What are farmers going to do? I mean, honestly, what are they going to do? The ones who don't have Amazon film crews farming around and who wants to be a millionaire to top up the income. I mean, what do you do when these subsidies start to go down?
Jeremy Clarkson, a man who's never shy about telling the truth, is raising a real storm in British politics. He has taken on the bold task of uncovering the brutal and sometimes shocking realities faced by farmers, and he does so with incredible passion. With each new publication, he uses his platform to give a voice to those who often remain in the shadows, allowing them to speak out and be heard. His courage inspires, and his determination makes you think about the fate of farming in the country.
If I have a pig and I butcher it, or slaughter it and butcher it, and turn it into a sausage, that sausage will cost here 74p. If I buy imported pig meat, make it into a sausage, it's 18p.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Something's wrong with our food system in this country. My pig reared on my farm, by the time it gets here, it's got a cost of 74p. An imported sausage, 18p.
So what's your message to the new government? Do you think they get the kind of rural economy at all?
No, I don't think any of them have set foot outside Kentish Town for the last 35 years. No, they're a hopeless bunch.
So would you invite Keir to your pub, Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister?
No, he's banned. He's the first person to be banned. He's actually on a board in the hall. He's banned.
Why? What have you got against him?
Hello? I thought you were running a news operation.
Okay.
He hasn't done much to endear himself to me yet. Well, we'll have a look at farming. It all might turn around, you never know.
But now he's furious, and that's perfectly fair. The recent introduction of inheritance tax for farms, established by the Labour government, has shaken the entire farming community to its core. This innovation is not just an additional financial burden, it is a real threat to the future of farming in the UK. Farmers feel the soil slipping away from under their feet, and this causes sincere indignation and despair.
I got something for you.
One day, all this will be Rachel Reeves.
Don't.
What, the curtains? Yep, she'll have those as well.
If the rumblings are true, it looks like British farming is over in Britain. They're on about taking agricultural property relief off land. That will basically devalue land that much. It will make most farming businesses insolvent. It will bankrupt them overnight. My dad's 76. He spent his life paying a mortgage and wants to pass on the business, the farm, the business of growing food for the nation to me. It will be all lost in a tax bill.
For several weeks, he has been passionately supporting the protest organised by the National Farmers Union, which will take place on the 19th of November in London. The purpose of this action is very clear: to unite like never before and demand with a loud voice that the government repeal this destructive policy that threatens the future of farming. Emotions are running high, and farmers are ready to fight for their rights.
Well, if you own a farm or land, you have an additional £1 million inheritance tax than anyone else does. So already they have additional land that they can pass on without paying any inheritance tax.
Yep.
And indeed, 73% of farms last year would not pay any inheritance tax at all, even after our changes. And after that next £1 million, there is a 50% discount on inheritance tax compared to what everybody else will pay, and you can pay that inheritance tax over a 10-year period in a way that no one else is able to. So I think we've got the right balance there. We did need to raise taxes to fill the black hole, to put our public finances on a stable footing. We did that yesterday, and people can now be confident that we will be able to live within our means.
But then the story takes an unexpected and shocking turn. Just days before the long-awaited protest, the NFU, an organization that claims to fight for the interests of farmers, suddenly gave up. They announced that due to legal problems, the action was cancelled. For Clarkson, this was the last straw in the sea of his patience. In a tweet that instantly went viral, he furiously criticized the situation. He expressed his thought that perhaps if he had decorated his tractor with the Palestinian flag, everything would have been different, as if you protest against the events in Gaza, you are allowed to do anything. But the government, which is waging a real war against the countryside, treats farmers completely differently. There is deep disappointment and bitterness in Clarkson's words. He's not just angry, he's heartbroken that farmers are left on the sidelines, ignored and forgotten. He added, "We wanted to express our protest in a dignified and reasonable way, so I ordered a bus to avoid problems with tractors and agricultural machinery. These are not just words, they are the cry of the soul of a person who cannot remain indifferent."
Okay, farmers going down to Westminster on the 19th. This is the wee update. So this is available to everybody. Scotland, England, Northern Ireland, Wales. You do not need to be an NFU member. This is all farmers everywhere uniting to go down and rally down at Westminster.
But it doesn't end there. Clarkson, like many farmers, is gripped by deep outrage over the NFU's actions. This organization, which should be the mainstay of protecting the interests of farmers, left them to their fate at the most difficult moment. Clarkson's tweet is not just words. It is an angry cry for justice for farmers, for rural areas, and for the government, which must hear their desperate voices. Please note, Starmer doesn't want you to know the whole truth. He hopes that you will turn a blind eye to this and remain in the dark. But we can't stay away anymore. We cannot remain silent. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to always keep up to date with the latest news. Support the British farmers. This fight is just beginning, and it requires our participation and strength.
I think Starmer's one of the worst prime ministers we've ever had, and he's only been with us 81 days. But look what he's done in those 81 days. He's allowed the Chancellor to go ahead with a scheme where 4,000 pensioners could freeze to death this winter. And those are Labour figures, by the way, not Tory figures, OK. He's introduced a raft of policies like energy, which could make us dependent on overseas energy.
The unfolding tragedy has shocked rural communities, bringing the issue of inheritance tax to the forefront of national debate. The heartbreaking story of 78-year-old farmer John Chelsworth, who voluntarily passed away due to concerns about Labour's proposed changes to inheritance tax, has become a symbol of the devastation that could befall family farms across the UK. John's son Jonathan, deeply saddened and angered by his father's death, blamed Starmer and the Labour Party for the unnecessary pain his family is currently experiencing. His grief turned into a call for justice, and rural families across the country joined in his outrage. The controversial new budget plan of the Labour Party provides for the exemption of farms worth up to £1 million from inheritance tax, but anything above this threshold will be taxed at a rate of as much as 20%. For many farmers, the value of their land and farm assets depends on the land. When a 20% tax is applied to the value of these properties, This can lead to huge tax charges that will leave families with no choice but to sell their land to pay inheritance tax. The very land they have worked so hard to preserve, sometimes for generations, may be lost due to taxes. Labour's inheritance tax plan could undo centuries-old traditions and lead to the ruin of farming families who have farmed the same land for generations. Please, write your opinion in the comments. See?